Voice of Truth. Back in August 28, 2003, waking up from a surgical procedure to remove a growth on my neck with no tracheotomy, that's a surgical procedure that puts a hole in a tube in my neck to breathe, and no G-tube, which is a surgical placed tube in my stomach so I can eat, for feeding. Surgeon told me right before this surgery, due to the nature of my cancer, I was to accept this and I would need to breathe through a hole in my throat and eat only from a tube in my stomach. This was my third neck surgery and my second episode with cancer at the neck location and the thyroid. And for me, not finding a hole, you would think to yourself either they saw too much cancer and closed me up without hope, or God worked a miracle. God, you are my voice. You are my joy. And I avoided this reality of a mass found on my left side of my neck. Kept getting bigger out of fear. Getting pneumonia was often. And figured I just needed sleep sitting up and I'd have no breathing problems. I would do things most take for granted, like breathing, swallowing, or talking. Truth was obvious before the mirror. My thyroid, so big, my throat misaligned, causing all this pneumonia and cardiac problems. And being in denial, I would say the time was never right, so I would put it off. One day I woke up so weak, feeling drunk. The reason was I was drowning from infection in my lungs that was there because there was no oxygen to the brain. So going to the work as a ventilator nurse, no going. So in this state, I did not ask for help. I drove myself to the hospital. As a nurse working with ventilators, helping others to breathe, now I needed the help. Personal pride being stripped. God in His mercy got me to the hospital without passing out, and I made it to the doorway, in the emergency room, and now being treated for pneumonia with IV fluids, antibiotics, breathing treatments like every 2 hours, and a doctor who I believe was a Muslim touched my neck, who I'd never let anybody touch my neck. He spoke the truth. I would have to have my thyroid out. I remembered not his name, seeing him only once, and then never again. But his words hit my soul with peace, for God spoke through this doctor. God uses people of all walks of life to bring a message. So my primary care doctors, who are Chinese, they were a husband and wife team, and my hubby, were shocked when I said, now, once over the pneumonia, I'll be ready for this next surgery. The enemy will hinder you of your healing once you know healing is coming. Doubts, denials, worries, pride will try to stick onto you. Besides, the enemy will have some only speaking negative. Oh, you'll never get off oxygen. You'll need it for the rest of your life. God provided a Chinese breathing technique book to teach me how to breathe without using oxygen dependence. God does use ways that don't fit the Christian ideals. You can't put God in a box. God chose to bring my healing by Muslim and Chinese doctors. So hear the truth to my once narrow-minded Christian thinking. God can use anyone. You must learn to listen to God's voice and learn to trust. Work saw me after my pneumonia treatment, now waiting for a upcoming neck surgery. Moved me from ICU, and I had to learn to trust God. He was taking me out of my comfort zone of working as a vent nurse to another new discipline. 2003, back to waking up with no hole in my neck, no hole in my stomach, and yes, the surgeon confirming cancer. And my voice was gone. And with a tube going from my stomach down to my nose, the joy of knowing the cancer was found to be locked up and in the thyroid, and the surgeon got it all. I came home with only that tube down my nose. Praise God. The world will tell you you cannot recover. You'll be a victim of cancer forever. The world lies. God speaks truth. God becomes my voice. He becomes my truth. That victory, first, occurs when you believe in God. So my healing started with the nearly voiceless words spoken to the Creator of the universe. In faith, I spoke, God will heal me, and my voice will return, and I will swallow again, and I did. And in my weakness, God is my strength. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 17. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee, that means me, is mighty, and he will save, and he will rejoice over thee, and with joy over thee with singing. Yes, God is my voice and my song. So I started to sing with my hands and dance. And in contentment, I helped hubby walk, and he would help me talk. Well, 2003, hubby needed help walking, and with my voice barely a whisper, he moved, and we moved as one. God showed love, and through my weakness showed life can be possible, and even joyful. And hubby in his weakness became more open to God and grew every day. God is able to show you mercy and even joy in our wounds. And your wounds can be seen by the world as unrecoverable, calling you worthless. Those are lies. The enemy, aka the devil, will use those words to hold you captive and seal your gifts of healing and joy. Tell that devil where to go. I encourage you, just like I did, tell the enemy your wounds. For me, it was cancer. God has already healed me, and time will prove it. Hubby walking got better, and my voice and swallowing improved. No more tubes, no more puree type baby food, no more thickened liquids. God changed hubby and me, and God could change you. In love and obedience, you will not be the same person after your wounds have been touched by the Creator of the universe. God is your healer to those areas you hid, so you can be from victim to victor. Victory can only come from God, and God chose me the right doctor and the right procedure, and even the right work for me to do, the right books, the tools, and even the right change of attitude. So give all the glory for your healing of your wounds. You have hid now, being worked on to God. Now back to working on those wounds.